This is tutorial number 31, and it covers how to use the spline sketch feature within CATIA v5. To start off, open up a new CATIA v5 part file, and once you've done that, let's go into the sketcher. So let's click Sketch and click any of the planes. So now in the last tutorial, I showed you the definition of the spline sketch feature. So now that you kind of have an understanding of when we're putting a spline together, actually what it's doing mathematically, now I'm going to show you kind of how to manipulate it within CATIA v5. So to find the spline tool, again, it's Insert, Profile, Spline, and you can choose the spline, or it's on the toolbar on the side right here. So let's click Spline, and let's just start drawing one out. Now, in CATIA, say I've drawn this spline, and now I want to close it. All you have to do is right-click and click Close Spline, and then it's going to close your spline profile. Now say you don't want to close profile, what you have to do is start drawing it out, and then once you've got your profile done, double click Escape, and it'll leave your profile alone. Now again, like the other sketches, you're able to manually adjust, so when you're trying to adjust it, you can click on the spline and move it in any position, but say you actually want to change how it looks, you'd have to click a point, drag, and move it around. So this, especially with the spline, because the spline, it's very kind of like an organic feel and look when you're playing with it. It allows you to really massage your spline and allow you to give it the look that you want. So you're able to do it to just the profile, or you can do it to a complete sketch such as this. Now, before I showed you that it's very mathematical, the spline tool, and that each of these sections is a different function, you're also able to add dimensions and constraints. So let's click Constrain, and let's click this point here and this point here, and we'll change the distances. So let's make this 2,000, or sorry, that was 200. Let's make it 2,000. And you can see that we can add dimensions and kind of constrain where these points are relative to one another. So we'll make another one there, and we'll make these 1,000 apart. So by adding these dimensions, you're actually able to really hone in and develop your spline to either if you have a mathematical model of what the spline should look like, or just to kind of define these points. And that concludes our tutorial on how to use the spline sketch tool within CATIA v5. This is tutorial number 32, and it covers the Fix Together sketch feature within CATIA v5. To start off, open up a new CATIA v5 part file, and once you've done that, let's go into the sketcher. So let's click Sketch, and click any sketch plane. So what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce you to the Fix Together feature, and it's this little paper clip here on the toolbar. So what this is going to do is we're able to fix lines and points together so that they're constant within a sketch. So you're able to go around and dimension other components of the sketch without affecting the other sizes that have already been determined. So to do this, let's start off by just sketching a profile. So just sketch a little profile out on the side, just something like this. And what we're going to do, if you remember how to use the manual sketch editing, so you can just grab a point and you can move it, bend it, twist it. Now you're able to do that to all the lines on here. Now what's going to happen if we put a manual, if we fix together this line here? So let's see, let's click Fix, and we'll click the line, click OK. And you'll see that we can't drag and change the dimension of this line. Now if we go to put a constraint on it, so to put an overall length on it, we'll click on it, and we'll see that it's in purple, so that it's over constrained now. So the line's already fully constrained, and we can't do anything to it. So let's delete it, and now the line's back again. So now let's draw another profile. And let's constrain this circle here. So let's click the circle, and we'll click this line here. So we'll constrain both of them together. So let's click Fix, click the line, click the circle, click OK. And now again, we're not able to change any of the dimensions on these two lines. And if we go to put a dimension on it, you're going to see again that it's purple. So you're able to do one line or multiple lines and fully constrain it. Now let's do a whole profile sketch that's complete. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you and just fix the entire profile. So already it's selected. Click Fix. Click OK. And now this entire profile is fixed, and you can't change any of the dimensions. Now let's do one more profile. And what you're also able to do is create the dimension beforehand. So say we want this to be 200. And now just fix that component. So we'll fix that one and this one together. So we'll click this one, click Fix, and we'll click this one here too, click OK. And you don't have to worry about this dimension anymore. You can just delete it, and it's always going to be dimension to 200. So the fixed component, it allows you to kind of solidify and keep constant dimensions and angles and just geometry between lines and points within your sketches. And that concludes our tutorial on how to use the Fix Together sketch tool within CATIA V5. This is tutorial number 33, and it covers how to use the Hide Show feature within CATIA V5. To start off, open up tutorial part 6C, which is located on the DVD. So what we're going to do in this tutorial is I'm just going to show you how to use the Hide Show feature within CATIA V5. Now you can find this on the Views toolbar. So it's this button right here is the Hide and Show, but you're also able just to either right click on the object and you'll get an option to say Hide Show. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to hide and show some of your components. So right now we have these two cylinders in this block. So what I'm going to do is to hide one of the cylinders, I'm going to right click on it and click Hide. And now I've gotten rid of one of the cylinders. If I right click and say Hide Show again, it comes back. So you're able to go to either one and select and hide either one independently. Now say you wanted to hide both of them at the same time, you'd have to go deeper into your product tree. So we'll open it up, and then if you hide the part body, both of them are going to be hidden. And if you show them, now both of them are going to be shown. Now the reason why, if you hide the part body compared to just hiding the part that's put into the assembly, is that the part body is connected, is the whole part body, so it's the part. So between all of these cylinders, all of their bodies will be hidden. Now if you just go and say that part 1 is going to be hidden, it's just going to be this one guy compared to cylinder 1, cylinder 2. So on a lower level, as you're hiding them all, it's going to hide across every single instance of that part that's in your assembly. Now it doesn't have to be just parts that you can hide. You can even hide these planes. So we can right click on this and click Hide, and we can slowly hide all these planes. So this is a really good tool. Allows you to, when you have an assembly, you're able to kind of hide and show and expose different sub-assemblies of your entire assembly. Or you can even use this on sketches or just even on the part level too. So this concludes our tutorial on how to use the Hide Show feature within CATIA V5. This is tutorial number 34, and it covers how to use the visible space feature within CATIA V5. To start off, open up tutorial part 6C, which is located on the DVD. Now in the last tutorial, what I showed you was how to use the Hide and Show, and in this one I'm going to show you how to swap visible space and how to use your visible space. Now in the last one we were hiding some of the components, but really where are those components going? and where that is in the other space. So if you click swap visible space, you get another space that shows what is not shown to your face in the other space. So everything that is hidden, so you might find sketches, work planes, and whatnot, and it'll also be the parts. So right now, let's hide this part, and if we go back, now they're in this space here. So we can hide the entire part, and it'll be in our other visible space. So swapping between the two allows you to see what's been hidden and what's been shown. So let's show these guys again. And you can see that we also brought over these lines here. So we can hide them, and then they're going to go into this visible space. And we can bring everything. If we select everything in here, swap it. So let's bring in each one by one. Now we have all the drawings that made up these parts and these assemblies. So when you're hiding stuff, you're able to go back and see what's in your visible space. Now, when you get into very complicated parts, especially when you're doing surfacing too, your visible space is probably going to be more action, more stuff in there than when you swap your visible space. This space here, what's invisible is going to be larger than what's going to be in your visible space because it takes a lot of components and geometry to put together your part. So this is a really important tool as you're able to toggle back and forth by toggling stuff on and off, and you're able to see where the stuff that you toggled on and off, where it goes. So it helps you create your part, and it helps you know that, hey, I lost this part, where did I put it? You can swap space and you can be like, oh yes, I hid it, so let's unhide it, and you can bring it back. So that's just an introduction to the visible space, and in the next few tutorials you're going to be seeing how we're going to be applying this visible space not just to assemblies or just to products, but also sketches. So you're going to see kind of like a first-hand use of how we're going to be using this and utilizing this tool. And that concludes our tutorial on how to use the visible space feature within CATIA v5. This is tutorial number 35, and it covers how to use the project sketch feature within CATIA v5. To start off, open up the auger tutorial part, which I've included on the DVD. Now, projecting edges is probably one of the most, if not the most, important tool that you'll be using when you're doing sketches. Now to start off, what we're going to do is we're going to click on this face here, and we're going to create a sketch. Let's click Sketch. Now, if you've noticed that if you've made a part yet in CATIA, if you go to use, say, like a line, you can't touch any of these lines or any of these edges. The only thing that you're able to touch is, say, like the center point here. And you'll see that you're getting a coincident point there, and you're not getting anything around here. What you have to do with CATIA v5, as you can see now, as I move my cursor, I'm getting all these lines and edges, but when I'm trying to draw, I'm not getting anything. What you have to do is you need to project those edges onto that sketch plane. So if I kind of rotate this around, you can see that we're on this sketch plane, but we need to project those edges onto it. Now, if you don't do that when you're drawing your sketches, you're going to be kind of guessing where those lines are rather than actually having those lines there. So to do this, you have a whole set of projection tools. So if you look here on the toolbar, you have all these projection tools, and the one I'm going to use the most here is the Project 3D element. So what we're going to do is we're going to project a bunch of these lines onto this plane here that we're working on, and from those we're able to kind of lock into those points or those edges and draw and make components off of it. And again, like I said, this is probably the most important tool, I think, in sketching in CATIA, because you're going to have to project those edges, and it's going to allow you to make precise drawings and kind of make features off of those features there. So to start off, to use this tool, all you have to do is click Project, click a line, and now you've projected a line. Whenever you project them, they're going to be yellow unless you've changed it in your tools and options. Now it can also work the other way. You can click a line and you can click project and it'll be projected. Now you're also able to click on, say, a whole face. So let's click this face, click project, and we projected all the lines touching that face. Now if we go again with our line tool, we're able to snap onto all of these points. So from that, you're able to create sketches off of these projected lines, and they're going to be precise and they're going to be consistent with the rest of the part. So rather than guessing, now you've got these edges that are there for you to use and to create your sketches from. Now let's try to project all of these curved lines. So let's click this curved line here, press Control, click this curved line, and this curved line. So now we've kind of got all of these curved lines that we've selected. So now let's press Project, and you can see that we projected all of those curved lines onto our sketch plane that we're working on. Now from all of those lines, we're able to click and select these lines. So we can select the edge and create a sketch from that, or we're able to click from one line to another and connect them. So this is a very, very powerful tool. Again, like I said, I can't emphasize this enough that this is probably one of the most important tools when you're sketching within CATIA V5, is to be able to project those elements and be able to use and utilize those edges to create your sketches and to create sketches off of those that are consistent with the rest of the part. And this concludes our tutorial on how to use the Project Sketch feature within CATIA V5. This is tutorial number 36, and it covers how to utilize the visible space feature within CATIA V5. To start off, open up tutorial part number 36, which is located on the DVD. Now, what I'm going to show you in this tutorial is how to utilize visible space. We're going to be using the project edges, and we're going to be using the show height. So this is kind of like a combination of the last few tutorials, and I'm just going to show you how to utilize all these together. So what we're going to do in this tutorial is we're going to create a sketch on this face here, and we're going to say that we want it to be a circle that's the same size as this edge here. So we want it to be touching, and we want it to be on that circle there. So to do this, let's start off by clicking this face and click Sketch. And what we're going to do is we're going to project this edge here. So let's click Project, and now we have this edge here. So now let's create our circle. So let's click Circle, and we're able to find the center point of the circle. If you put it on here, you can see that we're getting that dotted line, and as you go down, we're going to get that center point. So we have the center point, and now we're going to drag it out, and we're going to make it touch this edge here. So now we've created our circle. The only problem though is that we have two drawings here. We have the circle, and we also have the extruded profile behind it. And to actually extrude it out, we need to delete that solid profile behind it. The only way to do that is by swapping the visible space, showing and hiding, and to get rid of that other drawing. So we need to get rid of it, because if we don't, we're not going to be able to extrude it out. So to do this, what we're going to have to do is right-click on this sketch that we just made, click Hide, and now we're able to see that sketch behind it that we need to delete. If we didn't hide it, there'd be no way of selecting that edge and deleting it. So let's click and click Delete. Now we'll swap our visible space, and when we swap, we're able to see the drawing that we just hid. So let's right-click on it, click Show, swap again, and now we have our drawing. Now we have this drawing back, we don't have that projected edge behind it, and now we're able to go ahead and either extrude it or use any feature without worrying about that other edge. So this is just an example of how to utilize the visible space, and when you're doing your drawings and creating your sketches, you're going to run into issues like these a lot of times, because you're going to have a sketch that you've made, but say an edge that you projected is behind it, and there's no way of getting to it without deleting that one that you just made. So without deleting it, you're able to hide it, delete the original projected edge, swap the space, and bring that drawing that you just made back. And that concludes our tutorial on how to utilize the visible space within CATIA V5. This is tutorial number 37, and it covers how to use the sketch analysis feature within CATIA V5. To start off, open up a new CATIA V5 part, and once you've done that, let's go into the sketcher. So click Sketch, and click any of the planes. Now what we're going to do in this tutorial is we're going to be using the Sketch Analysis tool, and you can find it if you go to Tools and click Sketch Analysis. Now what this is going to do is it's going to take a look at the sketch that you've created and tell you if there's anything wrong, if there's overlapping edges, if there's a space in between a couple points and whatnot. So this is going to be able to tell you if your sketch is good to go or if you're going to have to go back and make some changes. Now the reasoning behind why you would want to know if your sketch is good and what's going on with it is that when you're using it to create a feature, if you want to extrude, you need to have a closed sketch. So if you have a sketch that's open, then there's something wrong. So to start off, let's make a profile. So let's click Profile, and let's make a profile, and we'll close it up. Now click Tools, click Sketch Analysis, and it's going to tell you the number of curves and the status. So right now it's closed, so that means it's good. And it's going to tell you up here everything passed. Now let's delete this one line here, and let's do the sketch analysis again. So let's click Tools, Sketch Analysis, and it's going to say that it's opened. So it's not that there's anything wrong with this sketch, it's just telling you that this is an open sketch. And with an open sketch, you're not going to be able to extrude or cut. You'd have to use this kind of like as a guide or a path. Now, if you throw, say, a point onto one of these lines, and let's do sketch analysis, let's click Tools, Sketch Analysis, it's going to tell you that there's an implicit profile. And that's the profile that we have, and it's going to tell you that there's a point that's isolated. Now, you're not going to want that point when you're using a feature, so to get rid of it, all you have to do is click Delete Geometry, click Delete, and it's gone. And we'll click Closed. And what we're going to do now is we're going to create a very small gap in between a few points. So from that one point, zoom in as far as you can, and just try to put it offset just a little bit, and then zoom back out. Now run the sketch analysis again. So click Tools, Sketch Analysis, and it's going to tell you again that it's opened. And this time, because it's a very small point, it's going to highlight it in blue. So you know the area that it's in, and you're able to zoom in to see what's going on. So the sketch analysis, it's a great tool because it allows you to, before you go out and try a feature and you're going to get with a feature saying that you can't use this sketch, you're able to check your sketch, make sure it's good, and then make sure that it's meeting the criteria that you want it to be. Now I'm going to show you one more, and we're going to show you that you can have two profiles within the one sketch. So let's delete this sketch here, and let's just draw two circles. And we'll click Tools, Sketch Analysis, and again it's going to show that we have two and they're both closed. So it doesn't have to be just to one specific profile, it's going to show multiple. So everything that's going on in this one sketch, it's going to show. So this tool allows you to check and recheck everything before you put it out into other workbenches to create parts and whatnot. And that concludes our tutorial on how to use the sketch analysis feature within CATIA V5. This is tutorial number 38, and it's an intro to solid modeling within CATIA V5. To start off, open up a new CATIA V5 part file. Now, up to now, all that we've been doing is we've been going over different options and settings in CATIA, and we've been looking at the CATIA sketcher. So slowly we're building up, and now we're able to use all the things we learned in the options and the settings and all the sketching options. We're now able to create solid parts from those sketches. So to get into the solid modeling in CATIA, what you're going to have to do is click Start, the mechanical design, and you're going to have to choose the part design. Now when you choose the part design, you'll see that all of the solid modeling parts and features are all in the toolbar on the side here. And if you click Insert, you can choose any of the solid modeling features within here. Now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating sketches to start out, and then we're going to create the solid parts from those sketches. So this is just kind of like a little intro just to let you know that from the sketches that we've been doing, we're going into solid modeling now. So we're going to be creating sketches and then using these tools to create our solid bodies and solid parts. And this concludes our tutorial on the intro to solid modeling within CATIA V5. This is tutorial number 39, and it covers how to use the pad feature within CATIA V5. To start off, open up a CATIA V5 part. Now what we're going to be doing in this tutorial is covering the pad feature, so you can find it in the toolbar over here, or if you go to Insert, Sketch Base Feature, and you can click Pad. Now to use the pad, what you have to have is a profile or sketch to extrude or make a pad from. So to start off, what we're going to have to do is create a sketch to make our pad from. So let's click Sketch, and we'll click the front plane here, and let's sketch out a rectangle. And let's dimension this rectangle. So click Constraint, and let's make this 50 by 100. Now let's exit this workbench and go back to the part design. And what we're going to do is we're going to extrude this out 50 millimeters. So click Pad, and we'll click on the sketch. So when you click Pad, you're going to get this pad definition window, and it's going to show you all the different things you need to select to get your pad to work. So right now we have it as the type for dimension. Now if you open this window here, you're going to see there's a bunch of different types. You can do up to next, up to last, up to plane, and up to surface. For now we're just going to do the dimension, and you're able to dimension it to this length. Now it wants the profile or surface, so let's click this profile here, and for length let's type in 50. Now if you want to see what it looks like, if you click Preview, it's going to bring it up as your preview in wireframe. So it's going to show what the 50 millimeters looks like, and if we type in 20, click Preview again, it's going to bring it back to that 20. So let's put in 50, click OK, and now we've extruded it out 50 millimeters. Now let's click that same plane, and let's click Sketch, and let's draw a couple circles. Now don't worry about dimensioning them, just throw them in. And now we'll go back to our workbench. Now if we open up the part body, you'll see that this pad, there's one sketch associated with it. Now we're going to make another pad, and it's going to use this sketch here. So when you're using a pad, you have to choose each sketch that you want to use. So in this case, we're going to use this sketch, and we're going to create two pads coming up from it. As the sketch has two closed profiles, we're able to make these two pads. So let's click Pad, and we'll leave it at dimension, and we'll click you can either click on the sketch in the window, or you can click on the sketch from the tree. So let's click from the tree, and you can see it's going to extrude it out 50 millimeters. Now you're able to reverse the direction. If you notice, this arrow here is the direction it's being extruded out from. So if you click reverse, it's going to put it in the opposite direction. So you're able to click it and reverse the directions. Now let's click OK. Let's put it in the reverse direction and click OK. Now let's click this face here, and let's click Sketch. So now we're creating a sketch, and we're going to extrude from this surface. So let's zoom in a little bit. Now let's click this line here, and press Control and click this line here, and let's extract these edges. So let's click Project 3D Elements, and we're going to do this so that we can position another extrude. So let's click Circle, and we're going to use the center point here and create our circle. So let's make our circle, make it 25 And now let's make it from this edge to this center point. Let's make it 50. And from the center point to this edge, let's make it 25. So now we've positioned it in the center of this rectangle. Now either you can delete these lines, or if you select them and click construction, we can turn them into construction lines, and we can leave it while we extrude out. So as an example, what we're going to do is we're going to extrude it out with these construction lines. So let's click Exit Workbench, click this sketch, click Pad, and we're going to extrude it out 50, click OK. Now it works because we put those lines as construction lines. Now if we go back into that sketch, we'll double click on it. If we click one of those lines and turn it back from a construction, it's going to give us an error and it's not going to extrude. This is just to show you that with the pad feature, you need to have a closed profile. Now if we click Tools, Sketch Analysis, it's going to tell you that you have one closed and one isolated. Now let's just try to get out of there and let it rebuild, and it's going to show you an error. Now it showed you an error as there's open profiles. Now press Close. We'll go back into that sketch, click that line, and we'll put it back to construction. Now when we go to rebuild it, it's going to come back up. So this is just to show you that you need to have these closed profiles to make these pads and extrusions. So now let's click this face here, click Sketch, and let's draw a circle over here. Don't worry about the dimension, and let's extrude this one out. Let's click Pad, and now what we're going to do is we're going to make a mirrored extent. So let's click Mirrored Extent, and what that does is it makes the profile or the sketch that we have, it makes it a mid-plane, so it's going to extrude 50 millimeters both way. And you can see from the preview. So let's click OK, and it's gone in both directions from this plane. Now let's click this face here, click Sketch, and we're going to do one more. So let's create a square, and let's dimension this square to 100 by 100. Now we'll go back to the workbench. Now let's click Pad, and this time click the thick option. So click it, and it's going to give you a larger window. Now what this is going to do is it's going to make a thickness around the edges. So if you zoom in, you can see that there's going to be a thickness here. So the center is going to be hollow, and there's going to be a thickness of 1 millimeter all the way around. If we increase this thickness, you can see that it increases in our part. So let's make this 10, and let's click Preview. And now you can preview the part as it's thickened. So with the pad, you're able to just draw the square and kind of make a hollow opening in the middle. So now let's click the Mirrored Extent to extend it back, and let's click OK. So now in this one, we've been able to thicken and mirror extent this pad. So this is an overview of how to use the pad feature within CATIA. So you need to have your closed sketch and profiles, and it's just this tutorial just shows you how to use the tools to extrude it out, and the various options and variables that you need to fill out and manipulate to make your pad. So this concludes our tutorial on how to use the pad feature within CATIA V5. This is tutorial number 40, and it covers how to use the drafted fillet pad feature within CATIA V5. To start off, open up tutorial part number 40, which is located on the DVD. Now, once you've done that, to show you where the drafted fillet pads are, is on the toolbar here, and you can also find it if you click Insert, Sketch-Based Feature, and you can find it right there. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a sketch on these solid bodies that we've made, and we're going to do the drafted fillet pad off of it. Now, the drafted fillet pad, what it does is it kind of saves you time as it introduces 3 features into one step. So in this one step, you're going to be extruding the part, drafting it, along with adding fillets all over it. So this tool in this sense is a real time saver as it combines 3 steps into one quick and easy step. So to start off, let's do one on this face here. So let's click this face, click sketch, and let's sketch a square on the face here. And let's dimension it to 50 by 50. And then let's dimension it from the origin here. So let's make it 25 by 25. Now we've got our sketch right in the center of the solid body. So let's exit this workbench and let's apply the drafted fillet pad. So click on the sketch and let's click the drafted fillet pad, and we get the drafted fillet pad definition, the window here. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go through it and add the parameters and select the parameters. So with this type of pad though, you're limited to only doing a dimension. So for like the length, you're not able to do a up to or up to surface with it. Now for the second limit, click the face that you're extruding it off of. So click this face here, and you're able to toggle on and off if you want a draft angle or if you want the fillets. So for now, turn everything on, and everything's set at 5 degrees and 5 mil. Leave that, and let's put this up to 50. Now let's click OK and see what we get. And we get our extrude with the draft and the fillets. Now if you notice with the draft angle of 5 degrees from the top point here, draft it out. And when it creates this feature, you're going to get a pad, a draft, and all of the edge fillets. So from there, you're able to either change the pad, change the draft, or the edge fillets just by clicking on them. So let's change the draft angle. Let's double click on it. And let's change it from 5 degrees. Let's change it to 10. Click OK. And now you can see that it's kicked it out much more. Now let's delete one of these fillets. And you can see that it takes it off on all those edges. So you're able to go in and modify the pad, the draft, and the fillets after it's been made. So instead of getting back into this one menu though for the drafted fillet pad, each of them creates its own feature under the part body. So now let's do one on the circle here. So let's click this face, click sketch, and let's just sketch a circle close to the middle. Don't worry about the dimensions. And we'll go out, click on the feature, and this time let's only make a draft. So we'll take off all the fillets, and we'll make the angle here 5. Now for the limit, we're going to choose this face here, click OK, and now we've drafted this out just 5 degrees with no fillets. Now let's do one last one on this face here. So let's click it, click sketch, and let's use the hexagon. So click and pull it out. Now let's go back out and let's use the feature. Now this time let's unclick the draft angle and let's click this face here. So what we're going to have this time is just fillets and no draft angle. So let's click OK. And that's exactly what we get. No draft on it, just the fillets. So this tool, it allows you to incorporate the drafts, the fillets, and the pad all in one step. So like I said, it's a time saver, as rather than going through 3 separate steps, all you have to do is one step and you get your 3 features from the one sketch. And that concludes our tutorial on how to use the drafted fillet pad within CATIA V5. This is tutorial number 41, and it covers how to use the multi-pad feature within CATIA V5. To start off, open up the new CATIA V5 part. Now, what we're going to do in this tutorial is cover the multi-pad, and what that is it's just like the pad feature, except that from one sketch with multiple profiles, we're able to extrude multiple pads with different heights. So to start off, the multi-pad is found right here, and you can find it if you click Insert, Sketch Base Feature, and Multi-Pad. So what we have to do first is create a sketch with multiple closed profiles. So let's click this plane here and click Sketch. And let's do just that. Let's do some circles. So let's do one circle, another circle, and one last circle. So let's dimension all these circles. So let's make this one here 100. We'll make this one here 50. And we'll make this one here 20. Now if we click the sketch analysis tool, so let's go to Tools, Sketch Analysis, we're going to see that we have 3 closed profiles. So we're going to be able to make 3 multi-pads with different heights. So now let's get out of this workbench and let's use the multi-pad. So let's get multi-pad and click the sketch. And now we have 3 different closed sketches that we get to put different heights and dimensions for. So as you go through it, you're able to change how high each of them are going to go. So let's click the first one and let's make it 100. Click the next one and let's make it 50. And we'll click the last one and we'll make it 20. Now click Preview and you get to see all 3 previewed. So you can see that from the one sketch, we're going to have 3 different heights of an extrude. Now let's click OK. And now we have our 3 different heights from the one sketch. Now if you open up your part body, you can see that there is a multi-pad and the one sketch. And if we want to adjust this, all we have to do is double click on the multi-pad, and we're back in here and we're able to change the dimensions. So for 100, let's put it down to 10. Click OK. And now it's only at 10. Now let's do a few more. So let's click this plane here, click Sketch, and let's do a few squares. So let's draw some squares up here. And let's exit this workbench. And from this sketch, we're going to do some more multi-padding. So let's click multi-pad, click on the sketch, and again we have 3 sketches and 3 different extrusions to play with. So let's click number 1, and like the normal pad, the drafted fillet pad, we only have the dimension tool available right now. So let's change this to 100. Now if we click more, we're going to get more parameters to play with. So as we've extruded it out, you can reverse the direction and it's going to change where it's going to extrude. Now you can keep playing with that, and you can make a second dimension, a second limit off of it. So let's do 300, click Preview, and you can see that it's going to go 300 behind it. So the second limit is like the reverse direction, but we're also able to reverse it and make it go 300 or whatever we want in the opposite direction. So now let's click this one here. Let's make it go 50 one way, and let's make it go 50 the other way. Click Preview, and if we zoom in, we've made kind of like a cube, and it looks like it's this is like a mid-plane, and it's extruding out both ways. And let's do the last one. We'll make it 100. Click Preview, and we'll just reverse the direction of it. And when you reverse the direction of one, it's going to reverse the direction of all. So as you can see, I want to reverse the direction of this guy, so it's going to go this way. Now say that I only wanted this to go 100 that way and 300 that way. I'm going to have to go back in and adjust it. So I'm going to make the first one 300 and the last one 100. Click preview, and now I got the dimensions and the look I want. Then just click OK, and you get your multi-pad extrude. So this is a good tool, again, if you have multiple profiles and you want to extrude them out different heights all at once. It saves you a little bit of time rather than creating, in this case, 3 different sketches and extruding 3 times. All you have to do is create one sketch, one pad, and it saves you a bit of time from going back and forth between sketches and back and forth between the pad feature. And that concludes our tutorial on how to use the multi-pad feature within CATIA v5. This is tutorial number 42, and it covers how to use the pocket feature within CATIA v5. To start off, open up tutorial part number 42, which is located on the DVD. Now, the pocket feature is exactly the opposite of the pad feature. So with the pad, we're extruding and creating a part. With the pocket, we are cutting and taking away from a part. So what I've done is I've created a few parts here that we're going to create a pad, and, a pocket, and extrude out from. So let's click this face here, and let's click sketch, and let's zoom in, and let's draw a square. So let's draw a square, and let's dimension it to 50 by 50. And let's center it, so let's make it 25 from one edge and 25 from the other. So now that we have our sketch, let's go out, and you can find the pocket feature right here on the toolbar, or if you go to Insert, Sketch-Based Features, Pocket. So let's click Pocket, and what you need for a pocket is a closed profile. So that sketch that we just made, you can either select it here or select it through the tree. Now you have the option again in here, so you can use dimensions, up to next, up to last, up to plane, up to surface. We're just going to use the dimensions in this tutorial. So right now we have it set to 100, and you get a preview of it, and it shows that it's going to go all the way through. So now let's click OK, and we've cut a pocket through the square all the way through. Now let's go into that pocket and let's edit some of these dimensions. So from the product tree here, you can either right click, pocket object, go to definition, or the parameters, but what we're going to do is just double click on pocket, and it automatically brings up the pocket definition. So from here, you're able to actually change these dimensions of the size, but what we're going to do is we're going to change exactly how far in it goes. So let's change this to 50, click OK, and now it's only gone 50 millimeters into the block. Now let's put this back to 100, so let's double click on it and make it 100. Click OK, and let's click on the top surface here, click sketch, and just sketch a circle in the middle, just a little circle, and we're going to make it go all the way through and cut through that pocket too. So let's go back to the workbench, click pocket, and we'll click that guy there, and it's going to go all the way through. So let's click OK, and you can see that we have the pocket going through the top and through the bottom. Now let's click this inside surface here and click sketch, and again draw a circle, a little one somewhere in the middle. Now let's get out of it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use the pocket, and instead of just going in one direction, we're going to go in both. So let's click pocket, click the sketch, and as you can see, it's only going in one direction right now. Like the pad feature, you're able to reverse the direction. reverse the direction. And what we're going to do in this one is we're also going to mirror it. So we're going to mirror a cut all the way through. So now this allows us to, from the one sketch, cut both ways. So let's click OK. And now we've cut both ways all the way through. Now let's click this cylinder here, the top surface. Let's click Sketch. Now click the outside profile and click Project 3D Element. And now click Circle, and let's put one right in the middle. So once you get the hard circle with like the solid circle in the middle, you know you're in the center of this circle. So let's pull it out, and let's dimension this to 50. And then let's just delete the outside circle here. Now we'll exit the workbench, click Pocket, and now we've got selected our pocket here. Now let's click Thick. And now what this is going to do, just like the other one, the other tutorial with the pad using the thick, if you zoom in, you can see that as you increase the thickness, so does the thickness increase of the cut. In the other case, it was the pad. This case, it's going to be the cut. So we've increased the thickness, and let's put it to 10. Click OK. And now we've cut out with a thickness of 10. Now let's do one more on this face here. Click Sketch. And just click a profile and draw a unique little profile on this surface. And again, use your sketch analysis just to make sure that everything's closed. Everything's closed, so you're good. We'll get out. And let's use the pocket. So now if we click more, you're going to have options to go with a second limit for the dimension, and say you can go 100 in the other direction too. Click Preview. So again, this is just like the mirrored extent, except that you have the ability to say only go 50 here and 100 that way. So that's just like another tool there. Let's click OK. And you can see the cutout that we just made onto that block. So with the pocket feature, it works just like the pad feature, except you're taking away rather than adding. And so to use this feature, what you need is a profile that's a closed profile within a sketch. And that concludes our tutorial on the pocket feature within CATIA V5. This is tutorial number 43, and it covers how to use the drafted fillet pocket feature within CATIA V5. To start off, open up tutorial part number 42, which is located on the DVD. Now the drafted fillet pocket feature is found either in your toolbar over here, or if you go to Insert, Sketch Base Feature, your drafted filleted pocket. Now what we're going to do is we're going to apply this feature to all of these parts here, and just like the previous tutorial on the pad one, the pocket one is going to incorporate a pocket, a fillet, and a draft all in one step with the one sketch. So again, this is going to save you time, as it takes one sketch and one feature to complete 3 features all at once. So for the first one, let's click this face here, click Sketch, let's zoom in and let's draw a square. And let's dimension the square to 50 by 50. And we'll center it, so it's going to be 25 by 25. So once you have that all those dimensions in, let's go back up and let's click the drafted fillet pocket. So let's click it, and then again you're given the same menu as the pad definition. So for the depth, let's put it to 50. For the limit, let's click this face here, and again you're able to toggle the draft and all the fillets on and off. So right now let's put everything on, leave everything at 5 degree and 5 mil. And let's click OK. And you can see that we've been able to cut into the block with the pad with a 5-degree draft on it, and all of the edges have fillets. Now if you open up the part body, under this pocket here, of course you're going to see the pocket, the draft, and the 3 fillets that we used. So again, we're able to go in and change some dimensions. So let's double click on the draft and let's change the draft angle. So let's change the draft angle for this one. Let's put it to 12 degrees. Click OK. And now you can see that it's opened up and we have a 12-degree draft on this pocket. Now let's do this on the circle. So let's click the circle here, click sketch, and let's zoom in. Now let's project the outside circle and let's do the inside circle at the center point. Let's make it a diameter of 40 and delete the outside circle now. We'll go back to the workbench and let's use the drafted filleted pocket again. Now you're able to change the depth again. So let's change this depth for this one. Let's make it farther down into it. So let's make it 90. And for the limit, we'll click this face here. Now for the draft angle, let's put the draft angle to 20 degrees. And let's take away all of the fillets. Click OK. And now we've drafted the pocketed cut 20 degrees into our pad. Now let's double click on this draft and change the angle. Let's put it to 10 degrees. Click OK. And now we've changed it to 10 degrees. So now there's no fillets or anything on it. It's just the draft and the pocket. Now let's go to our last one here. Let's click this face here. Click sketch. And let's draw a profile here. So just draw a unique little profile along here. Click tools and make sure that it's closed, and it's closed. And let's go back. Let's click the drafted filleted pocket again. This time let's uncheck the angle. And for all the rads, let's put 2. And for the depth, let's make it 40. And for the limit, let's click this face here. Click preview. And we're going to get a little preview so we can see what's going on in there. And let's change some of these fillets and see how it affects it. So let's change this one here back to 5. Click enter. And now you can see that all those corners there are bigger at 5. And again, we didn't have a draft, so all we have is the pocket and the fillets. So let's change some of these fillets. So the one around the rim here, fillet 8, let's double click on it. And let's change this to 7. And let's see if it'll work. So let's click preview. And it appears that it's going to work. So let's click OK. And now we've changed that fillet to 7. So again, with this tool, it's a time saver as it allows you to do the pocket, the draft, and the fillet all at once from the one sketch. So after you do it, you're able to also go back and edit either the pocket, the draft, or any one of the fillets. And that concludes our tutorial on how to use the drafted fillet pocket feature within CATIA V5. This is tutorial number 44, and it covers how to use the multi-pocket feature within CATIA V5. To start off, open up tutorial part number 42, which is located on the DVD. So to find the multi-pocket, it's either on the toolbar here, or you can find it if you go to Insert, Sketch-Based Features, and Multi-Pocket. So the multi-pocket works just like the multi-pad that we used in the last tutorial. So you're able to create one sketch with multiple closed profiles, and from those closed profiles you're able to use the pocket to cut into an object at different lengths and heights. So to start off, let's click the face of the square right here. Let's click Sketch, and we'll zoom in, and let's draw a bunch of little squares on the face. Now we've got 3. Now let's check our sketch tools, so our sketch analysis. And just so you know, you've got 3 closed profiles that you're able to either cut or extrude with. So let's close this, and let's go back to our other workbench. And let's use the multi-pocket. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut into this part at different heights. So let's click the first one, and you'll see it highlighted in blue. And let's cut this one all the way through. So let's type in 100, click Preview, and if you rotate it around, you can see that it's gone all the way through. Let's click this one, and let's make it 50. And we'll click this one, and we'll make it 20. Now we'll click OK. And if we look through, you can see that we have 3 different cuts at different lengths from the one original sketch. Now if we open the part body, we can see that we have the one multi-pocket, and if we double click on it, we're able to change the dimensions. So let's click this 100 one, and let's put it to 50. Click OK, and now it's only at 50 halfway through. Now let's click this face here, and let's click the sketch, and let's draw a bunch of other little squares. And let's go back up. And now they're on, if you can see on the side, they're in plane with this face there. Let's click the multi-cut again. And this time let's click More. So for each one that we choose, we're able to choose how far it cuts either way. So right now we have the one in blue highlighted there. So we'll change this to 50, and we'll put this one to 10. And if we click Preview, you can see that this guy is going to go from that plane there, 50 that way, 10 that way. Now let's choose the second one, and we'll make it go 100. So it's going to cut all the way through. And the other one, we're going to make it go 50, but it's going to cut in the other direction all the way through. So you can see that from this multi-pocket, we're able to cut both ways, one way or the other way, all at once. So you're able to get a large degree of freedom when you're trying to cut, say, from like the middle of an object out. So let's click OK. And you can see how we cut through that way, and this guy's cut down the middle. So let's click the circle, and let's make 3 circles inside of it. Let's click one circle there, one circle there, and let's make one closer to the edge that's outside. Now let's go out, and let's click the multi-pocket, and let's make some more pockets again. So let's choose number 1, and let's make it 50. Number 2 we'll make 30, and number 1 we'll make 100. Click OK. And what happened to number 1? And we'll click on the circle, and let's make some circles on the face. So just make 3 circles anywhere on this face. I'm going to pull one that's out a little bit too. And let's go back to the workbench. And let's click Pocket, the multi-pocket, and let's cut all 3 of these. So for number 1, let's make it 50. For number 2, let's make it 100. And number 3, let's make it 30. Now let's click Preview, and you can see where all of these guys are going. Click OK. And again, we've done 3 cuts from the one sketch. Now let's click on this face here, click Sketch. Now let's zoom in, and let's make 3 unique profiles. and one more profile. Now you can see that this one up here isn't completely closed. Now if we go to our sketch tools and click sketch analysis, it's going to show that we have a problem with it. So let's close this and let's just change this. So let's delete this line here and let's just close it up. So again, it's very important that you use that sketch analysis tool just to make sure that everything's closed. So we'll check one more time, sketch analysis, everything's closed. Now let's go back up to the workbench and let's use the multi-pocket again. And we'll do 10 for the first one. The first one will make it 10. Second one will make it 20. And the third will make it 30. Click OK. And now we've made our 3 cuts again with the multi-pocket into the part. So again, just like the multi-pad, the multi-pocket allows you to save some time, as from one sketch you're able to cut out multiple profiles. So if you can go from 2 up to whatever, say 100 profiles, and you're able to use just one sketch and one feature to extract and cut out all those different profiles. So this tool is potentially a very big time saver. And this concludes our tutorial on how to use the multi-pocket feature within CATIA V5. This is tutorial number 45, and it covers how to use the shaft feature within CATIA V5. To start off, open up a new CATIA part file. Now we're going to be using the shaft feature, and to use the shaft feature, what we have to do is we have to have 2 sketches. So one sketch is going to be a profile, and the other sketch is going to be an axis that we're going to revolve this shaft around. So the shaft feature can be found on the toolbar over here, or if you go to Insert Sketch-Based Features, you can find the shaft feature here. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up the 2 different sketches that we need to create our shaft. So first off, let's click the YZ plane here, and let's click Sketch, and let's click a circle, and let's make a circle, and we'll dimension this to 100, and let's dimension the distance from the center point to the origin, and let's make this 300. And let's go out and let's exit this sketch. So what we've done is we've created our first profile that we need to create our shaft. Now what we have to do is create a sketch that's going to be our axis that we're going to revolve it around. So let's click the YZ plane again, and let's click Sketch, and let's just draw a line up and down the origin here. And let's exit it. And that sketch is going to be our axis that we're going to revolve it around. Now let's open up the part body, and you can see that we have one sketch there and another sketch there. So now let's use the shaft feature. So let's click Shaft. And what we have to do is we have to choose a profile and we have to choose an axis. So for the profile, let's choose the circle. And for the axis, let's choose the line right there. Now automatically it's kind of come up with the preview of what we're going to get. So let's click Preview, and we can see exactly what we're going to get. So we're going to get the circle revolving all the way around to make a ring. Now let's click OK, and we've created a shaft feature, and we've created a ring using the circle and the axis. So let's get in and let's play around with these parameters a little bit. So let's double click on the shaft. And what you have is a first angle and second angle. So for the first angle, let's reduce this. So let's make this 270. Click Preview, and you'll see that we're chopping out 270. So right now, this bit's going to be chopped out. And let's put this second angle to 90. And let's preview it. And you can see that it closes it up. So we're going to have 2 different angles going in from this one profile here. So if we put both of these at 90, and click preview, we're going to have half. So it's going to go 90 degrees this way and 90 degrees that way. Now let's put this to 130, and let's put this one to 130, and let's click OK. And you can see that we're revolving 130 this way and 130 that way to create our shaft. Now let's go into the shaft one more time. So let's double click it, and let's click thick profile. And again, let's put this thickness to 10, click preview, and you can see that we're creating a hole or a thickness to our shaft that we made. Now this is going to work just like the pad that we used before for the thickness and the pocket. Now let's click OK, and you can see that we now have a hollow opening in our shaft that we just created. Now let's change some of these sketches that we were using. So let's double click on sketch 1, and let's change this from a circle to a square. So just kind of draw a square around the circle that we have, and delete the circle, and let's exit it and let it rebuild. And you can see that it rebuilt with the square rather than the circle. Now if we go back into the sketch again, let's move this square farther out, delete this dimension here, click rebuild, and now our entire shaft is now larger and it's been extracted out more. So to use the shaft feature, you need to have the two sketches. You need to have one that's going to be your profile and one that's going to be the axis that you're going to revolve it around. Now we're going to do one more, and what we're going to do is we're going to put this kind of on an angle compared to what it is right now. So let's click the YZ plane, click sketch, and let's draw a line that's on an angle to the origin, and click it onto the origin, and let's make this 45 degrees. Now let's accept this, and let's do another shaft. So let's click shaft, let's click sketch 1 as our profile and sketch 3 as the axis, and you can see that it's all on that 45 degree. Let's click OK, and now we've created the profile and everything on that 45 degree angle. So like I was saying, you need your two sketches, the profile and the axis, and by playing around with the angles and the shapes of your profile and axis, you're going to get different results every time. So this is a tool that the more practice you have and the more that you play around with it, you're going to see the different results that you get, and you're going to be able to utilize and put these different results into use into your parts and projects that you'll be working on. And this concludes our tutorial on the shaft feature within CATIA V5.